Hello, everyone. Good to see you. I take my time in doing that because that allows me to parse the video and find the beginning really easily. Well, welcome. Here we are. It is our third class, I believe, in section 1. And last week we invented the bow step. We did some imaginative work on a windy mountaintop, trying to do some archery, and we ended up inventing the bow step. And we were able to explore how in your bodies you already instinctively knew a lot about what to do to be stable. And it's the kind of thing we don't do that often because, frankly, our bodies do the least effort they have to do in general. And we're not often on a windy mountaintop trying to do something, but your body really knows how to do it. And since Tai Chi is both an art developed for fighting purposes, you need to have that kind of agility and strength. It's also for your health. It turns out that doing some of the same things and being in the same positions helps to give you strength and balance and control over your body and agility. So we saw that some last week when we looked at the bow step. So this week we're going to take a really big step. And before we really go into the details of that, I just want to tell you it's a really big step. It's like, Thanksgiving dinner, which you might end up digesting over several days. And the big step we're going to take today is the first sort of real movement in the Yang family long form. And it is actually one of the more complicated movements in the Yang family long form. So this is just truth in advertising. If you feel a little bit like, whoa, what was that we did today? Don't worry, because we're going to go over everything next week. And the other thing about this movement is it assumes you already know a lot. And this is your third class. So you don't know all that much. So don't expect to get it right. And also, we'll be learning more concepts next week and in future weeks that when you come back to this movement, which we will throughout the whole first section, when you come back to this movement, you'll go, oh, this I can use there too. So, so just keep that in mind with what we're doing today. It's going to be kind of like Thanksgiving dinner, but you thought it was like not even Halloween yet, right? So you're just be prepared for the fact that we're going to do that. I'm going to try to make it fun and interesting for you. And please communicate with me. Let me know what's not working for you. If you see that I'm doing something and I'm specifically calling it right and you think it's left, please let me know, because I may be getting confused. It's not particularly easy to do this move on Zoom, but I think I figured out a way to do it. Any questions before we start? I hope I haven't scared you too much. It's not that bad. It really isn't that bad. It's just, Thanksgiving is wonderful. It's just big. Well, actually, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving anymore, but I do some of the traditional things on it. I celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. So, all right. So moving on, I promised you something last time, and that was, I'm going to share my screen in a minute. That was that I would show you my grandson, the gargoyle. So hopefully you can see this. I'm going to actually move it on my screen. I can't move it on the screen, but I'm hoping, are you guys seeing a kid by a computer who's just kind of sitting with, he's sitting on his haunches.
Yes.
Like flat feet, and he's just all folded up. I just kind of wanted to show you that that's a real extreme, but that is, that's some of the folding that we do in Tai Chi. And when I say, drop your waist, I'm going to take him off the screen and show you a little bit more but let me stop the share. And so we don't need to do that, right? We don't need to go all the way down and fold all the way down. But I want you to watch. I'm going to put him back on the screen in a minute. But right now, if you look at me, and I just stand here, and then I start to go down. Do you see how I'm aligned from the top of my head? I'm aligned through my body all the way into my whole feet. And there's that alignment that I have. And he's not necessarily keeping his head straight. I should look at that, but that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to, as we go up and down, we're trying to maintain some alignment. And there are cases where we tip and we fold, and we do so on purpose. And the fold that but you see where my shoulders are right now? If your feet are together, do you see how even as I fold, you can see that I'm aligned. So we're not just talking about the alignment sort of here to your center, we're also talking about that sideways alignment. And I'm going to just put him on the screen one more time so you can look at sort of, again, what happens naturally. I mean, we're not looking really at the side, but you can, and he's kind of hooking himself over here, but you can see this alignment. I may even have another picture here to show you. Let's see if I do still. Oh, I think I didn't put it on my screen. Okay, it's okay. I don't have it up yet. But I did have a picture of him sort of doing what I'm doing. I asked his mom to take some pictures of him coming up, and he's about halfway up. And yes, he's counterbalancing himself a bit because he has no idea, what he's doing. But that's what you do in Tai Chi too. I mean, if your arms are out here, you can have more weight in the back, but somehow you're always equalizing all of that, and you are keeping yourself centered. So being aware of our alignment really early on in our Tai Chi practice is just a really good thing, and doing it again and again is a really good thing. So I want to recommend that to you as we move forward. So let's go through what we know so far, because we're going to be adding on to that today. And I'm going to start doing it at the side, and we're going to do it from the side a bit, and then we're going to do it from the front a little bit. So let's take a moment. Remember that prepare? Remember prepare? It's got that sort of beginning gargoyle where you sort of, you drop your hips. You get that feeling of dropping your hips. You don't actually, bounce a little and sort of gorilla a little, but you take a moment to make sure you're not standing all tight in either your knees being locked or your pelvis being locked. You want a sense that your hips are dropping as if you could sit in a chair at any moment. So you want to find that and find the center of you. Find your weight completely on both feet. Experiment with that if you can. Feel your feet, roots growing out of your feet, bottom heavy, knees relaxed, but legs pretty straight. That feeling of sitting in a chair, almost ready to sit in a chair, but you haven't quite decided to sit yet. You want to be in that position. And then you want this little wonder right from your center, this little feeling that there's this sort of almost like the opposite of gravity, this little magnetic attraction sort of pulling you up, pulling the top of your head up. Put that fishbowl back on the top of your head. And meanwhile, you're suspending your upper body. So your arms feel beautifully heavy and long. And your little, almost like weights on the end of your fingers that end up being right probably at the seams of your pants. This is prepare. And now we're going to go into opening. So I want you to feel that sort of expansion now happening left, right, from center outward across your shoulder blades. Gently turning your upper arms, expanding your back. And they're rising. Remember, like a lever pushing down and back. Your arms go up and those elbows really droop like there were weights on them. And you then decide to push that ball, that big ball, into the water. Feel that moment where you can't push anymore. This is the end of opening. And it will be the beginning of our next move. So we'll do that one more time. A quick prepare. We're still feeling our feet, knees soft, ready to sit in a chair, rising up, and yet grounded deeply, suspended body, and that expansion as we go into opening across our backs, and the arms levering, rising, floating up, stretching out. And in that moment when the wave begins, you drop your elbows and you push that ball down until you can't push anymore. And we'll do that one more time. Prepare. Opening. Rising up. Droop those elbows, push, push, push. Feel the push until you can't push anymore. Nice. Very nice. All right. Does anybody have any questions about those two moves? We're good? All right. Very good. It looked good. I want to point out some things that I didn't used to see. I'm seeing people very straight. I'm seeing people looking very centered. I am seeing people push down. And when I do, I'm not seeing any claw hands. I'm seeing hands that look like they're really, those nice Tai Chi hands, pushing down. And I'm not seeing anybody end up like this. I'm actually seeing people end up still pushing at the end. Still pushing. This is good. This is exactly right. So congratulations. You have 2 moves under your belt and it's the 3rd class. So, hey, we're doing a lot. And we have the bow step, which we're going to review in a little bit, but I want to give you a little more warm up. We're not going to do, a lot of us right now are in the Pacific Northwest. It's really hot. So we're not going to overstrain ourselves. I figure our bodies are pretty warm. Mine certainly is. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of moving the rest of our body to get it warmed up. And then I want to teach you some arms, which we're going to need later. And then we're going to go over that footwork, and then we're going to start putting it all together. Because the bow step footwork with a minor modification is the footwork you're going to need for this move. So we were starting that actually last week. So let's just jiggle a little bit like a gorilla, right? Just kind of let it go. Ground those feet. Drop that pelvis. Remember, we talked about we're going to need this for our footwork later. We talked about being able to do those knee bumps. We called them knee bumps, but we learned that was our thigh coming out, pivoting. So do that, and notice how different it looks when I do this, right? I'm letting my upper body turn, but look how quiet this leg is. It's going up and down, this one over here, but it's not I'm not doing this, right? You're not seeing any of this. I don't want to see any of that on you folks either. Okay? So just do that. And then we're going to come over onto the other side a little bit, shifting a little bit, putting the weight in our heel, and we're coming out like this, right? On the other side, right? Now, there are times when we let our hips turn more, but right now we're not going to let our hips turn more. And we're going to be doing some turning of our hips today. So when we do left ward off, which is our move. All right, so I wanted to do that. And now I want us to keep that gorilla feel here. And I want us to, can you swing just your upper body and not let your, we're going to go into this more next week. By the way, next week, bring a chair, a kitchen chair. We're not going to use it this week. We're going to use it next week. Okay, so I don't want to see this. Don't want to see any of this. I want to see this. Do you see how the bottom of me is quiet and the top of me and my shirt is very active, right? You got that? And what I love is I'm seeing some of you, your arms are like doing this, right? They're swinging with you. That's really cool. So just let them swing. Can you swing them and kind of swing them? Can you swing them? Nice. Swing them. Don't hurt yourself. Nice. Swing them. Now, I'm not talking about, right? I want it naturally coming just from moving your body. I mean, I know you're going to do something with your arms, right? But just kind of get the feeling that your body starts it and your body can stop it. Right, nice, very nice. And how about if we kind of kept our arms in this position, this one right here, you know, like we were pushing down. We've been in that position before, and it stayed kind of there. And then we did this. You see that? Can you do that? So before we were just letting them flop around, but now they're kind of staying in that position, but the top of you is going. So get a feel for that. Now get all floppy and gorilla-y. I don't know how gorillas would really be, but you know, when we were doing it earlier, we were kind of just sort of throwing our upper body around, and it was just kind of doing a thing. And now we're going to like distinguish that. We're going to say, okay, here we are, we're pushing down, pushing down. This gorilla is pushing down, but it's going to go, whoa. It's just going to turn its body, and the whole body and those arms are going to turn. Beautiful. And then it's going to come back. And then it's going to turn its body, and it's not turning its hips. It's just, right now, it's just turning its body. Now, if it wanted to turn its hips, it could. If there was no weight on this other side, take the weight off it for a minute. Then we could, you know, turn our hips. It wouldn't hurt. We could pivot on this toe, right? Yeah. So get a feeling. You could do it that way. But right now, you're locking your arms in with your upper body. And when it turns, your arms are turning, right? Okay, so this is how we're going to learn our arms. I'm not going to care about what happens with your lower body right now. Just don't hurt it. If it hurts, don't do it, right? But, you know, you can sort of move around. I want your arms here. And I want to turn. So you can mirror me if you want. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That works. Mirror me if you want. And turn back. Right, and turn. And turn back. Okay, pretty easy, right? And turn. Now, let's look at what happened. We turned, and when we look at the picture of me or you, one arm kind of looks forward towards the screen, right? And one arm looks back, right? Turn back. They're both the same, right? Turn. One arm forward, one arm back. Turn back. Okay, so there's this concept about yin yang in Tai Chi, which is sort of opposite. So we've had forward and back. So we're going to do this again. We're going to turn and go out, one forward, one back. And then we're going to turn back, and we're going to, this arm right here, I'm going to get back so I can show it to you. The arm in front is, the fingers are going to go down, and it's going to curve curve a little bit. So it's going to look like this, turn back. And the one that was in front, it's going to look like this. We're going to learn more about this shape later. It's called a ward-off shape. See, kind of looks like this. You see that? It's just kind of straight. And it looks like it's facing backwards. It's not quite backwards, but it's almost backwards. Okay, let's try that again. We'll do it on the other side. So the one that's in front, after you turn, when you turn back, the one that's in front, the whole arm just kind of does this sort of beautiful, I call it a butterfly arm, because we'll do this some later, but you know, if you put a butterfly on your arm, you might go, whoa, that's pretty cool, right? Well, we'll do that another day. But I want you to get that feeling. All right, and let's do it on the other side. So we go turn, and then when we turn back, the one that was in front is going to come down. Okay? And let's do it on the other side. Turn, the one that was in front is going to come down. Yeah, and it's this nice curve. Wonderful. Okay, now what's the other one going to do? Okay, so when we turn, we're like this. Now the one in front is going to come down, right? But the other one is going to swing up, and don't worry if you forget the first one. It's going to swing up and push a button. It's going to look like this. Nice. Let's do that again. Okay, we're going to swing. The one in back is going to push a button. Swing back, push the button. Okay, nice palm push. Beautiful. One more time. We're going to turn, swing back, push the button. Nice, nice. And look at how many of you have kept doing that other hand. Right. Okay. We should also do it on the other side, because not everybody is mirroring me. So we're going to come to the other side. So now you're going to have to switch up, but the one that's back is going to push the button. You got that? Ready, swing back and push the button. Great, fabulous. Let's do it on that side again. And turn out. The one in back pushes the button. Swing forward. Great. And the other arm is still got some energy in it, but it's you know, it's just here. It's just down here. Fabulous. Okay, so what's going to happen now? So everybody put up your right hand for me. Fabulous. Okay. Would you mind if so I want you to put your right hand, keep your right hand up for a second. I'm going to mirror you. And that means, yeah, I know that was going to confuse you. I'm going to mirror you, which means it's like I stood at a mirror and we could push hands together. You got that? Fabulous. All right, so that's what I want you to do right now. So let's put this hand down and we're going to swing out. I mean, we're going to swing and go back, and then we're going to push a button. So interesting, right? Now one is up and one is down. The yin yangs here. One is forward, one is back. So one is also left and one is right, right? What if we switched? Now we're going to learn about this next week. This is called close. This is called close. Okay, can we come? So we can come back now if we want and come down. So let's just do that again. So this is your right hand. You're mirroring me because we could push buttons and push each other, right? We're gonna turn, nice. Turn back, push a button. Other hand goes down, fabulous. Switch, left, right. Fabulous. One more time. We're gonna turn back, push, switch. This is called close. You might hear me say close, so we'll call it close now. Put your hands down. Turn right, turn back, push the button, and close. All right, now I want you to watch what happens a little bit more carefully. We're gonna turn right. We're gonna push the button. And I want you to be pushing, I want you to look at where your shoulder is and just make sure that you're pushing just about shoulder height. You see how I am? And right in front of where your shoulder is. I have to kind of move so you can really see that. Okay? So that's where you should be. So let's check your own body. And we're gonna turn back. It's right in front of your shoulder, right? And hey, this one's kind of right at your side. Now let's switch sides. Oh, how interesting. This one, check it out. This one is now right in front of your other shoulder, kind of, right? Right? See how it's right in front of my shoulder? Great. Let's do it again. And turn right, turn back, push the button at your shoulder, cross, and look, they really changed position. This one's kind of like almost at your hip, and this one's at your shoulder. Nice. One more time, gonna get this in. We're gonna turn out, turn back, push the button, and close. Now, eventually, we're gonna be in a whole different way of doing this, looking, and you're gonna go, oh, there's my shoulder, and you're gonna know you're right, but it may look a little different on the screen, okay? But all that is still going on. Any questions on those arm movements? We good? Not so hard. There's one more part of this arm movement, which is really not that hard, but I want to wait until we're doing the footwork. So I'm recommending that people get some water right now, especially if you're on the Pacific Northwest. It is a hot day. So I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to wait until we get a couple of people back here. I hope you folks noticed the yin and yang that was going on. So you can look at me while we're waiting for people to come back, but we had forward back, we had up down, we had left right, and we were switching. So that kind of thing happens a lot in our Tai Chi. So now we're going to go and look at that bow step and get some more practice with that bow step. So we're going to start here on you can again mirror me, right? So if you're going to mirror me, I want you to this again, we could push buttons together, right? And you'd be pushing with your right hand, right? Okay. So so we're gonna shift our body over to this side and turn out our right side, and then we're gonna sink. And when we do, I want you to check. We're gonna come up a little bit on our. Remember, I told you if you came up on your toe here, it wouldn't matter if you turned your hips a little bit. So it's all right to, because we've really sunk down, it's all right if you've turned your hips a little bit here. It's just fine to turn it or to turn it a lot right here. But you want to make sure that your thigh bone is in good, reasonable alignment with your toe here, and that you're stacked up, completely stacked up. Remember, like I was talking about earlier, with your weight, so you can lift this up. Let's just practice this on both sides. Now we're going to go, so we're going to go over here, come out, and now we're going to simultaneously shift over and squat down. We call this sitting. And you've already come up on your toe on this other side. Nice. You could lift it up, right? Great. Let's come back, stand up, feel rooted. Just the bottom half of you and the top half of you is kind of very much like prepare. And we're gonna Move a little bit to this side. We're gonna pivot out and we're up. We're up. Our knees are pretty straight still. But now we're gonna start moving our center line over and sit and come up on this toe right here. Nice. Now you're up on this toe. Can you lift your foot up? Put it down, come back over here now, out, sit, up on this toe, pick it up, nice. You can work on this, beautiful. Okay, we're gonna go one more step further, come over here. We're gonna come out. Wait a minute, sorry. We're gonna come over, we're gonna come out, and then we're gonna move over and sit. We're up here. So we're gonna unfold. Remember those railroad track lines like I've got here? You're gonna unfold. Can you bring it back? If you're all stacked up over here, you can. Nice. And we're gonna come back to center, stand up, a little bit here, out, over and down. Let this one come up. Your hips can turn. Can you unfold? Cool. Can you root? Can you feel it? Can you like go, oh, I could almost surfboard? Can you have your whole weight almost back here, but I don't know, 10% over here? Like you're just getting ready. And then I want you to make sure that weight comes back and you bring it back, okay? And over, out, down and over. Can you lift this one up? Can you unfold it? Can you root? What does that mean? You're kind of getting ready to go forward. Nice, nice, nice. Well, let's go forward and let's finish turning our hips to the corner, right? You've got a corner. You can see there's this open space right in front of you towards a corner. That's where you're going to turn your hips. So they're open to the corner. So you're going to go heel, ball, toe, push with that back leg, start to straighten it, bend the front leg, look your whole body to the corner. Nice. And we're going to come back. We might as well do that on both sides, get some practice. We're going to come over here. We're going to go out. We're still standing up, so move over, down. Your hips are starting to turn. Unfold, root, transfer that weight. Feel like you're just moving forward and your hips open, knees bent. Nice. All right, so now let's do this way. If you stand right next to me and your right hand is towards the screen, right? Your right hand's towards the screen. My right hand's here. It's like we're standing right next to each other, right? Right. And your left hand is away from the screen, right? That makes sense. All right. So if we finished prepare, you don't have to worry about your hands right now. We could shift to the left a little bit, and then we could turn out to the right. And then shift over onto that right leg, bend our knee, hips start to turn a little bit. Look down. Did they turn enough to feel safe on that foot? Is your weight on that entire foot? You feeling good about picking this other foot up? Pick this other foot up and unfold it. Again, railroad tracks. Can you root? Can you root? Can you now push with that back foot, that whole back foot, and turn your hips to the corner? All right, good job. All right, so how was that? Now I'm going to make it a little harder because I want to show you something else. You're going to have to look over your shoulder. So we're going to do it on the other side. And I realize this is going to be hard because we're going to move in this direction and your body's going to start pointing away from the screen, and you're kind of going to have to do it wrong, but at one point I want you to see what's happening, okay? So I don't so much mind how you're doing it, but let's give it a try. So you're gonna shift a little to the left and turn out to your right. You're gonna bend your knees and sit and move your whole weight over that right leg, like Ethan did, my grandson. Unfold the left foot, right? And then push with the back leg. And you see this nice line? You're gonna have to look over your shoulder to see. You see this nice line that I have? Unfortunately, that's not the line we want. That's a line we want often in Tai Chi, but I want you to take your right hip and I want you to turn your butt towards the back a little bit and open this area bigger so that you see how I'm now standing straight up? So just look for a moment. You can actually look, and then we'll get back into this position. I just want you to see, I'm grabbing my butt to show you that I'm turning. Nothing else is moving. I'm turning this, and when it's turned, and then I can be straight up and down. So let's get back on another, just remember that turn on the other side where you don't have to crane your neck, okay? So we're gonna shift a little left, turn out to the right, sit down, right? Just like in a chair, except our weight is stacked over this right foot. What are we gonna do? We're gonna unfold this left leg and root. And when we do, we may tip a little forward. As we come forward, we're gonna open our hips to that corner right over there. Heel, ball, toe, bend knee, and turn that hip. Do you see how I'm straight up and down now? All right, shall we do that again? Centered, you would be pushing down here. You would shift a little to the left. Think about that pivot point in your right leg and just turn out that leg. Then we're going to shift our weight over that right leg and sit. There's no weight on that left leg now. So what do? We unfold it. And what do we do after that? We root into it and we start transferring weight more into that foot, heel, ball, toe, turning our center and that hip opening way up to the side so that we can actually look in this direction. Now, while you're here, I want you to start swinging this arm. Okay, swing it towards the camera, swing it towards your camera, swing it towards the screen, right? Just like you were almost bowling, right? Just swing that arm until your fingertips, just what's natural, right? Swing it, okay? That position, this position is one of the positions you're gonna end up with, okay? You're not gonna quite swing to get it there, but that's the final position, okay? Of your left hand in this move. So we're gonna try to put the hands together right now. Any questions about the footwork?
Yes, when you say that you're just resting on your toe, do you mean that literally or sort of the front of the ball of the foot still touching?
By the time I'm over Let's see. Actually, let's see. Here. For me, my ball isn't. It would not be a problem if your ball is, but by the time you're getting ready to move that foot, there is no weight on it. So we're gonna learn this as kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4 step. Eventually, it's all going to get smoothed out, and when it gets smoothed out, your body will adjust things to the way they really ought to be. So let's see what happens in your body, because chances are when you smooth it out, it will all come to be in the right place. I want right now for a complete transfer of weight for people who have never taken steps like this before. And in order to move your weight, you are going to have to completely transfer it. So I'm kind of artificially dividing everything up. Any other questions? That was a good one. All right, so you remember these arms, right? Remember these arms, right? And these arms before, you were like, this was your right arm, right? Right? And we turned, and then we turned back, right? And that right arm pushed a button right out from your shoulder, and then we switched, right? And what's going to happen is we're going to put a giant macaw on your bottom arm. Do you know what a macaw is? It's a really big bird. If you want to think of an owl, you could think of an owl, right? I mean, but that's really heavy. Macaw also has a really long tail, and you're going to end up bringing that macaw up, and it's going to eventually get into that position where you had your arm. Remember, you had your arm up, and then you're going to bring it up with your left arm, I believe. I'm gonna have to do it in order to know. Yes, it's going to be your left arm that has the macaw. It's going to be your left arm that's going to bring it up, and you're going to pet down the whole macaw until your right arm is down by your side. And it's just a lot easier to do that. So there's going to be this kind of thing going on, right? It gets easier when we actually try to do it. So let's try it and just see. And then you're going to have questions, right? You're going to have questions. So let's start. We've practiced the footwork, but we've not done it with anything else. So where does all these arms work? Well, first of all, we come down and we're fully standing up, but nothing's locked. Our knees are soft. We're still pushing down, right? Still pushing down. And we're going to shift a little bit to the left and turn out to the right. And then, interestingly, as we shift our weight right, we're also going to swing back and push a button. Okay? So now I can pick this foot up, right? And when I pick this foot up, a lot's going to happen. I'm going to start to close and get ready to put the weight on that other foot. It's a little bit of rooting that's going on, just a little bit here. And interestingly, I've started to turn. So my right hand is in front of my left shoulder, and my other hand is underneath, like almost underneath my right elbow. Okay, but because my body started to turn, it's a little bit to the corner, right? And this other hand, it almost looks like it's reaching in front of me. Now, put the macaw on your bottom left hand and push with your back foot and start to bend your front knee, start to straighten your back one, and pet that macaw. I know it's a lot to do. Here we are. And then finish straightening and turning, and turn your eyes right towards me. And this hand, your right hand, is pushing down and holding the tail of the macaw. And your other hand is where we said it would end up being. And that big, beautiful, it's the biggest macaw you've ever seen, is now like standing up here. And it's just huge. Let's try it again. And then we'll take questions. See if you can make it work. So we've come down from opening. We've pushed down. We're going to shift left, turn out to the right. Now we're going to move our weight right and sink, and at the same time, turn our upper body back to push a button. Weights on the right. Now we're going to close our arms, turn to the corner and step, and root a little bit, right? Now we know where we're going. We're going to finish the turn, open to the corner, and pet that macaw and bring it up. How we doing? John says yes. Heidi says yes. Heidi, have you done it before? You have done it before. Okay.
Yeah, Sam is a step ahead of me, so he's helped me a little bit.
Okay, good, good. Well, if he's giving you tips that are useful that I'm not giving you, let us all know.
Dee Dee, I think it would be interesting to see you do it in real time.
Fine. I think that's a very good idea. And I was just about to actually do that to show you from a couple of angles, because I think it will be helpful, but I did want to kind of give you the pieces. So, all right. So I'm going to show you from over here where it would be really hard for you to do it because, you know, while I'm doing it. But I'm going to shift to the left. I'm going to turn out to the right. I'm going to close and step. And this is the final position. You see that? Now I'm going to do it from this position. I'm going to shift to the left. Now I'm going to be going a different way than you are. I'm going to turn out to the right. I'm going to push a button as I sink. I'm going to close step and raise that macaw, petting it on the way down. I'm going to do it in all the directions. I'm going to shift to the left, turn out to the right, sink, shift, hit the button, close, step, pet the macaw. And one more. We shift to the left, turn out to the right, backhand presses the button as we sink, close, step, and pet the macaw. Oh, you guys look fabulous.
Thank you. That was helpful.
Okay, well, thank you. That was the perfect timing. So what's the possibility that, let's see. I think the back direction works for the beginning, but once I turn, yeah, you guys could still see. You folks could see, right? So we could do those two angles. The other two angles, I think it's really hard for you to keep left, right, straight. Yeah, boy, it's really confusing, isn't it, on Zoom? It's actually very confusing in person also, because we're turning, right? We're turning. What are the sticky spots for you right now? Like which part of it, or is it just like, I really need to practice it all? Is there anything in particular? Okay, we have time. Let's do it a couple more times in a couple of directions. So if you can buddy up with me, shoulder to shoulder, as it were, facing this way, then we're going to start from prepare. So prepare, you're going to ground yourself. Feel suspended, feel centered. We're going to feel that spreading as we go into opening across our back and our arms lift up. Then those heavy elbows get pulled down and we push that ball into the water. We feel the end. We're done. We're moving on to left ward off. Shift a little to the left, turn out, pivoting on that heel to the right. Back arm's gonna push. We're gonna turn back and shift and sink, close, step. It feels like you're reaching out with that arm. Push with the back leg, absorb with the front one, turn your hips to the corner and pet that macaw. Your fingertips are pointing towards the screen. You're very upright and centered. One more time from that side. We start in prepare. Opening across our shoulders. Then the arms float up. Those elbows get heavy and they droop and we push. Feeling the bottom. Left ward off. Shift left. Turn out right. Arms swinging. They're going to swing back. Push the button and sink over onto that right leg. Now close your arms and step. This is probably the hardest part. Then push with the back leg and move forward, pet the macaw as you turn. And this is the other hard part. We're going to try it from this direction. Just trying to see what time it is. Okay. Prepare. Opening. Arms rising up to shoulder height. Those heavy elbows droop, and then you're pushing the ball into the water, which resists you. The ball is bouncy, you control it. At the bottom, you feel that point. We're going to shift a little to the left, turn out to the right, our arms swing. That right arm comes back up, swinging back up to push the button. As we shift, we close and step. Then coming forward into that bow step, we open to the corner and raise that macaw. And we look in the same direction, to the same side of the room that our fingers are pointing. One more time. Prepare. Opening. Arms floating up. And coming down to the bottom. Left ward off, shifting a little to the left. So you can pivot out on that heel, arms fly forward and back, and then they come back as you sink and shift to your right foot. You close, step that arm reaching out in front of your shoulder, and you bring up a macaw. Oh, you folks look fabulous. How you doing? Dorothy, this is your very first time, I think, doing this. Are you surviving?
I'm trying. I'm doing good.
Good. Looks great. It looks great. It really does. Anka, how about you? How you doing? 2 thumbs up. Wonderful. I'm excited. So as I said at the beginning of class, we will not do a new move next time. You bring a chair and we're going to explore how this can move separately from this part, and a little bit more about why gorillaing helps. And then we're going to work on this move again. Okay? So, and we're going to do a little opening and closing, and we can do it to the corner so you can see how if you were like this, it would look like you were reaching in front of you. So, you know, you're going to get a feel for all of that next week. Any other questions? All right, let's close class with just really enjoying some peaceful movements together that are related to everything we've been doing. So ground yourself. And we're going to do opening. We're going to come up. But this time we're going to go into moving like the waves, which means as we come down and push, we're going to bend our knees and sink. You can sink a little or you can sink a lot. Nice. And then power up. Let your arms come up like you and the ball were floating in the water, right? Play with the waves. Coming up, maybe inhaling and down. And just for fun, we're going to come up part way and come out. And there's a tree, a big West Coast tree, and it exhales. And it inhales. And those elbows of yours are still really heavy. So they droop a little bit. And maybe you breathe in and breathe out too. And then when you get here, we're going to just come down and then just follow my call. We're going to let those fingers come down like we were doing earlier. Rotate our arms and just come up, thinking the world is glorious. Gaze at the moon and push down. Feel that bottom. And then one more time. And come down. And then as we feel the bottom, let both arms cross and come out. On that sand, we've done this before. Take that sand, it could be cooler since it's so hot today. Yeah, let it go through your fingertips. Through your fingers. And then again. Feel its grittiness. Come up and down. One more time. Inhaling, maybe. Big inhale, maybe even holding it up here and releasing everything. Take a moment to feel where you are, and then we'll close class.